Okay. So, your name, 3 words to describe rugby and how long you've been playing.
Okay, my name's Hannah. 3 words to describe rugby would be fun, challenging at times, and it's 2 words, but really important.
Perfect. And how long have you been playing?
So I've been playing on and off for just over 10 years.
Perfect. So, to start off with, can I please get you to tell me what made you first want to get involved in rugby?
So I went to a university in Twickenham, and I'd come from never really knowing that rugby was a thing for girls. I'd not really heard of any clubs that had like girls that played rugby. I played tag rugby and really enjoyed it, but that was kind of the extent of it. So when I was 18, I went to London and I lived there, and I was in the canteen one day and one of the girls came up to me and was like, "Have you ever tried rugby? Would you like to try it?" And the team there were amazing. So yeah, I started playing there, and there was loads of women's teams. Rugby was obviously huge. I worked at the stadium and kind of really got into it there. And then when I came back to Northampton, I was looking for a team for about a year before I found Owens. And then I've kind of gone and played in other places since, but I've always come back here.
So, kind of on that, my documentary is about kind of the growth of women's rugby and how we can continue growing the sport and getting people involved.
Mm-hmm.
So you said it took you kind of a year or so to find a team.
Yeah.
Was that because you struggled to find women's teams, or did you just struggle to find one that felt right for you?
It was because I struggled to find one. So I was asking around, but like I had friends that played for men's only teams, that were like coaches and stuff, and they kind of put the word out and managed to like say that there was a team at ON. So that's when I came there. But at the time, it was like 10 years ago, so social media wasn't as big. There wasn't really any way of me finding a team apart from word of mouth. So like in terms of accessibility, it was definitely a lot less.
And on accessibility and things, what do you believe is the most important thing in getting girls, getting women, getting anyone involved in the sport of rugby?
I think there's like, I know from when I was growing up, there was a lot of stigma around women playing rugby because it's a male-dominated sport, or has been historically, and it's quite an aggressive sport. Like, it's a full contact sport. There's a lot of girls that I would say were quite scared to get on a pitch and be like, but they're like, why would you want to play that? Because somebody's going to hit you. And it's like, well, until you actually do it, you don't really understand like that it's obviously, it feels worse in people's heads than it is on a pitch. Like, I love it. That like full contact makes me actually feel really calm and regulated. It's like that deep muscle work that makes me feel good. So it was a sport that I really enjoyed. But I think there's a lot of like girls worrying about being stigmatised in a way throughout those sports. Like, I am a queer person, but when I started playing rugby, received a lot of comments about me being gay and that being why I played the sport, when they're actually completely 2 very different things, and actually nothing to do with one another. There just happens to be a fair amount of women who are queer that play as well, but that's probably because it's a safe sport and it is so inclusive. No matter who you are, what you look like, what your body type is, like, anybody can play rugby. And I think that's the thing I love most about the sport.
That really lovely, that's not even a word. Let's start again. That really nicely leads me into my next question. So, obviously we've just had the Women's Rugby World Cup kind of over August and September.
Yeah.
How important was this World Cup, do you think?
So important. Like, in terms of representation and women getting out there, I mean, I've been to a lot of women's rugby matches throughout the years, and the difference between the amount of people that are in the stadium now compared to 10 years ago is wild to me. The first game I watched was like a Six Nations years and years and years and years ago, and it was at Harlequins, and there was literally just like one side of the stadium, and like that side wasn't full, and now you go in their full stadiums. And like, to see that growth and see that representation and people actually talking about particular players and how they inspire them and being able to relate to them, and them having like a social media and a presence on like podcasts and stuff, and the awareness being where it is now, I think is massively important. And from the last 2 years, I've probably seen a growth in the amount of players that we've had come to the club, the amount of women that want to play or want to try it out, and like from that we've been able to build a really lovely atmosphere and a buzz about it. And I think the World Cup was kind of penultimate for that. It really like kicked it off.
And is there anything else you want to add kind of about why people should get involved, why the conversation really needs to continue about getting women involved? Because I think that's the main focus of this documentary is we had the World Cup, everyone was talking about women's rugby.
But they need to keep talking about it.
Now, exactly. So from a player's perspective and someone who's been involved in the sport for 10 years, how do you think we keep that conversation going?
So I think like talking in general, like the other day I was in a pub and I was just having a conversation with somebody else about the team and how far we've come and how the growth's been and how lovely it is and how much I just enjoy being a part of a really solid group of girls that we've built and we've worked really hard to build. And then somebody else was like, can I just talk to you about your rugby team, because I just heard that you play women's rugby. And that then started a conversation that I could come with her, and actually she's on her second training session now. So like, do you know what I mean? I think we all have a responsibility, like as players or as people that watch and enjoy rugby, to talk about it and to include people in that conversation and to encourage people to get involved. But I think like on a like club level kind of like and like senior like RFU level is to keep pushing that and to keep like giving women the same amount of viewership as we have, like, do you know what I mean, and really pushing that, really advertising the women's games, making the leagues more accessible, do you know what I mean? And I think that's something we could be better at, like knowing when those games are happening, how the league is structured, things like that, do you know what I mean? And getting those individual teams more support, because I think the men's teams are all really established, but the women's teams are definitely still establishing themselves. And yeah, club level is just keep putting the word out and getting people there. I think for me personally, rugby is really important for my mental health. It's the thing that keeps me grounded. They're the people I come back to no matter what happens. I always feel like I have a place here, and that's really nice. Do you know what I mean? Like no matter where life takes you, like I have a group of people here and a club that supports me, and I'm really fortunate for that. And it's a sport that is part of my identity. I think it has been for a really long time. The fact that I play rugby, I think, is really cool. Like whether I'm good or not, it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? I just enjoy playing, and that's my mentality, really. So.
Perfect. Is there anything else you want to say?
I'll probably walk away and think of loads of things I want to say, but for the time being, I don't think so.
Perfect. That was beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.